is being warned that if it does not reform, it could see France quitting next. But perhaps surprisingly, that's from the normally pro-EU French presidential candidate Emmanuel Macron. Charlotte Dubensky's got the details in Paris.
It does seem to be a big shift in policy. Mr. Macron used this interview to talk about his relatively short-lived political career, how the fact that he founded the En Marche campaign only a year ago. And since then, and during this entire presidential campaign, he has said and painted himself as the most pro-European candidate of all of those who stood out of the original 11. He's talked about the fact that he wanted greater integration in Europe. And what we see in this interview appears to be a rowing back on that stance.
If the day after I decide to follow up and pursue the current functioning of the European Union, I will betray my people. I don't want to do so. Because the day after, we will have a Frexit or we will have the Front National again.
Now, Marine Le Pen also used her rally today to criticise Emmanuel Macron and a number of his policies. She once again dubbed him to be the successor of Francois Hollande, the current president of France. And she talked about the idea that Mr. Macron wanted the Uberization of the economy, the deregulation of all professions. And she said that he won't name who he would anoint as prime minister if he became president, because he just doesn't want to frighten voters and he wants to gain as many people from the left, the right, the centre as he possibly can. This is what she had to say.
In this election, the system is imposing its candidate on you. Francois Hollande is imposing on you his protégé. And here you have Fillon's new best friend, who he once called Emmanuel Hollande. We can see Hollande leaving through the door and then climbing back through the window.
Well, protests are also due to be taking place in Paris today against that presidential candidate Marine Le Pen. There are also protests being held across France on this public workers' holiday, just a few days now before voters in France go to the polls, and it could be a far tighter race than many people are thinking.